On May 30th of 2024, I had my last drink of alcohol. I didn't know then how different my life would look now and how different I would feel, but I am so glad 1,000 times that I was able to choose me. I started drinking in 2020, shortly after Casey and I bought our first house and I started restaurant management. You know, it started out just to wind down after work or in social situations. It really wasn't a big deal, but I was dealing with a lot of anxiety at the time, and I had never experienced that before, and so I didn't know how to cope with it. And alcohol seemed to be the only thing that helped. It really wasn't a problem at first, but you know, it turned into a daily thing, and then it turned into excessively drinking. I was drinking just ridiculous amounts of whiskey or tequila or vodka on any given day, and you know, so much so that I was waking up, you know, not feeling well most days. Like I could make it, but I didn't feel well. And you know, when I drank, I would feel happy, and things, you know, were overall good, but I felt really bad about myself because I didn't have the power. Like there was a point when I lost the power, and I didn't feel like I could choose not to drink. And like I would tell myself that I could choose and that I could quit if I wanted to, but I didn't want to, but I wanted to at the same time. It's so confusing because, you know, just the thought of quitting would give me anxiety. It would make me feel anxious because that was my coping mechanism. But I was drinking so heavily, and I really became really depressed, and I feel like I lost myself for a time. But I gained a lot of weight, and my confidence went way down, and I felt so bad about myself, and I felt guilty. At the time I was still a Christian, and so, you know, I'm going to church, and I felt like I was putting on this mask, but I had this big, deep, dark secret. And, you know, I knew that it was suppressing me. It was dimming my light. It was keeping me from my purpose. But I didn't have the strength to... I didn't think I had the strength to let it go, to walk away, to choose something else. You know, I could have said something, you know, to someone. I know I could have asked for prayer, and I mean, heck, I was praying myself. You know, I can't even tell you how many times I prayed that God would take the urge away, that God would give me the strength, that I would be able to you know, quit drinking because I was hurting myself. But you know, when you're in the midst of it, and you know that you should quit and you want to walk away, but at the same time you're scared. I was scared. I didn't want to let it go, and also I was ashamed because, you know, most people perceive me as this, you know, just strong person who has it all together. And I mean, I did not have it together at all. And I guess a part of me didn't want people to know that and to really know how bad it was. I would start feeling anxiety, and because I had used alcohol to cope with my anxiety, if I would get anxiety, like I had a work from home job, and I'd get anxiety about something, or it would just creep in for no reason, because hello, my energetic system was all out of whack, my nervous system was shot, basically. And so I would, if there were times at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, I was taking a shot of whiskey to help ease my anxiety. And I knew that was bad, but in the moment, I couldn't choose something else. I couldn't just not do it, and especially if we had it in the house. And I felt so powerless. And I've felt that way before, because I've struggled with addiction before. But I have overcome addiction as well, addiction to something else, to another drug. But something shifted. So at that point, I've been drinking alcohol at pretty much every single day for 3 years. And I had my spiritual awakening in the summer of 2023. And even though I had this spiritual awakening, like, I was still drinking on a daily basis, but I was learning a lot of things, and my perspective was changing. And so I could feel the shift. I could feel that something was going to drastically change in my life. I felt called to become a sound healer and to start my healing practice. And and that was a really interesting time, because here I felt that I had this big calling to heal people and to help people, but I was still struggling with this huge thing. And again, I felt like a fraud, because it was a really hard battle. But I was still able to impact some lives, my family's life, and things were shifting in me, because as I was aligning with my role as a healer, I was helping to heal myself as well, even though maybe it wasn't all intentional, but things were changing, and I was able just to view things from a different perspective. And in the midst of my studying, my spiritual learning, I started getting into tarot. And I had been into tarot when I was a teenager or whatever, but I really didn't understand it. But I found this tarot reader on YouTube. Her name is Julie Poole, and really awesome lady. Her readings are amazing, and they are so, she's just so aligned, and she's so in tune with spirit, and I just get so much value from her readings. But in May of 2024, I was watching a reading, and the Devil card was pulled. And she's always like, she explains exactly what it is. She's like, it's not a card to be feared. This is your addictions, your chains, I can't remember the exact wording, but I thought about my chains to alcohol. And the thing that I remember about the reading is that if you wanted to let go of whatever this is for you, the energy is right. All you have to do is align to it, and you'll have all the support that you need. And so in that moment, I made the decision that I was going to quit. And I knew Memorial Day was coming up, and our family usually has a pool party at my mother-in-law's, and there's drinking or whatever. So I decided that would be my last day. And I started telling my family, about, that I was going to quit drinking. And of course I had said this before, and, I had actually quit before and then went back to it. So, who knows what anyone thought. No, there's no judgment in my family. We pretty much, we accept each other for who we are. We set our boundaries or whatever, and we all respect each other's boundaries. But, we each get to make our own decisions about our lives, even if it's harmful to us. So I started telling people, and I just started thinking about it, and I just started thinking about the alignment. And the more, I was really scared. I was really scared about it because I didn't know what my life was going to look like without alcohol. And, I didn't know what I would do with my time, and just so many things. And plus, I know I need this. I need this. I need to choose me. But knowing that, and then still, I was just scared. So the day comes, and we partied pretty hard. It was I actually remember having a conversation with my daughter, and she was visiting some family in California, and she was asking about something, and I told her no, and she felt that I was being unfair and unreasonable, and she said, it's because you're drunk. And I had heard that from my husband and from just a lot of times, and it's true, from their perspective, and I'm sure probably from mine now, but it just it really irked me. And I thought to myself, this is the last time anybody is ever going to be able to say that to me, to think that my judgment is impaired, or that my decision isn't the right decision, or to question it because of not being able to think clearly or whatever. So the first couple of days after that last day, I will admit there were some cravings, but surprisingly, it wasn't hard. It was pretty easy, and I am just so grateful that I was able to to stay strong. I just took it day by day, and the more time passed, the more confident I felt, the more I stepped into my divinity, the more sorry, the cat was about to knock my tripod over. So just the more I stepped into who I truly am and who I am truly meant to be. And now, my light shines brighter than it ever has, and I know that people can see it and they can feel it when they're around me, and I just feel so grateful, and I feel so proud of myself. So there have been multiple opportunities for me to drink, and at first my family was so nice. They all would keep the alcohol hidden, or just not even drink at all at family gatherings to help support me. And of course my husband, he drank every day as well, and I didn't of course expect him to quit, although I really was hoping he would, because it would be so hard to I think it would have been a lot harder for me to try to quit if he was still drinking every day and he had it in the house. I think I probably would have gave in at some point. But he was working out of town, and he called me, and he had half a bottle of Crown, and he was like, you know what, babe, I'm done with this shit too. And he dumped it down the sink, and he's like, we're doing this together, and my heart at that, it just grew 10 times in that moment for this man, because I really hoped that he would do that. But of course, you can't expect other people to do something. I mean, not even your spouse, just because you're going to do it. And you can't expect them to, change their perspective or what they're doing just because you may not have the strength to do it. You got to find the strength yourself, right? So that's what I was prepared to do. But luckily, I didn't have to do that. And then it got to the point where, we went on a little weekend getaway, and there was a bottle of wine in the room, and we thought about drinking it. We thought, okay, well, we could probably have one glass of wine and we'd be fine. And then ultimately we decided, you know what, we're having a great time. We don't need it. And we just chose not to drink it. And then, we're told the family, we're like, hey, we're good. You guys can have the alcohol. We're not going to drink. And the longer we went without it, the more proud we felt of ourselves, and then the more strength we had to not do it. And something really cool that I want to tell you is that just a couple of weeks ago, I got the opportunity to go to Orlando. There was a workshop that was being held by the same lady, the tarot lady, that, I watched her reading, and I was, I got this power, and I aligned, and I got to meet her, and I got to tell her how she has impacted my life. And the trip was magical. Casey and I, we had a wonderful time, and it was, all of it. I could talk for forever telling you about this trip and how beautiful it was. And there was just the energy of he and I exploring together, and then me getting to meet Julie and just to be with her in person and get to learn directly from her. It was beautiful. But it's just interesting how things work, because a year ago I was wearing these chains, and then I'm like walking in freedom now, and I'm just experiencing so many beautiful things in my life, and it keeps getting better and better. And so I'll go ahead and wrap this up. I know this is kind of a long video, but I made this video to help people that might be struggling with the same thing or something similar, or for anybody who just feels powerless over their life. And hopefully this gives you some inspiration that there is a power within all of us that we can tap into, and we can do literally anything that we put our minds to. And I truly believe that with my heart. And it's not always going to be easy, but it's possible, and you just have to figure out what you want to align with and focus on going in that direction and leaving the direction that your life was before. And some of the things that have helped me are meditation, of course, sound healing, past life regression, mantras, positive affirmations, watching countless spiritual teachers on YouTube and reading countless spiritual books. Those have been the things that have really helped me on my journey. And then also community and connecting with others. That is so powerful and so strong for each of us. And so if you are lacking a community, I definitely encourage you to find one that you can fit into, find one that you can connect with other people that are like-minded to you. And I would really, if this video did touch you in any way or inspire you in any way, please feel free to leave a comment. And if there's something that you're struggling with, and maybe you want to announce that you're ready to let it go, you're ready to align with your purpose, or with your true self. Because when we have these negative aspects of ourselves, it's not really desirable for us. Well, there are positive things to each and every one of us, and we just have to align and focus on those positive things. And if there's something in your life that you don't like, you have the power to change it. If you're in a relationship that you don't feel aligned with, you have the power to choose something else, to choose yourself. And it's not selfish to put yourself first, because of course, we all know that fine line of what actually is selfish, but you have to choose yourself, and you have to fill your cup and fill your heart, and make sure that everything is good with you before you can pour into others effectively. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I love each and every one of you. Please don't forget to like the video and share this with someone that you think might be inspired by it. And of course, if you want to follow me and my journey and the types of things that I post, then please don't forget to subscribe.